I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm one of the people, my family and I, we went to the beach on Wednesday. So it's just me, my husband, and my 5-year-old son. So all this lockdown, all this lockdown time, we've been home. We live flat on the second floor or third floor.
Yeah.
It's really so hot.
Of course.
It's been so hot, and we didn't go out. We've been really sticking to the rules and everything. But I want to stress on the last caller when she said that the government guidance said that it's okay now to go out and we could meet up to 6 people.
Yes.
So we went with another family of our friends. It's the same. The the parents with 2 kids, they don't have any family here. They don't see anybody. It's the same. So we basically went out for our kids because.
But that's already home. 7. That's already 7 people.
3 kids and 4. Yeah. So the kids were really just. 2 of them playing together.
I'm not. You don't have to justify yourself to me.
I'm not justifying myself. But when to be honest, the way to Bournemouth was 2 hours, but it took us 4 hours to arrive there. When we realized that all the people were going there, it was already too late. This is number 1. Number 2, yes, it was packed. It was packed. But I still think, for us, we didn't really get close or talk to anybody. We were close to people, but we were not talking or we weren't touching each other or talking to each other. And I don't think we did anything wrong for us. I don't think we did anything wrong.
Apart from the first rule you mentioned about gatherings of 6 people being allowed, you broke that before you even got to Bournemouth.
So, I'm just talking about the adults. So we were 4 adults.
No, I know, but it's gatherings of 6 people, and there were 7 of you. I'm not, I feel nothing.
7 of us from two households, not 3 or 4 households.
Yeah, but you just told me it was 6 people, mate.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's 4 parents.
You're just in the same sentence. You said to me, and I know it was 6 people, so 7 of us went out.
I know, but I don't think it was really a.
But what if I mean,
problem.
How many people? I understand, and I know why you didn't think it was a big problem, because the message that you're receiving from on high is that you were allowed to do it, and in fact, to back you up, May, and perhaps to prevent myself from getting a bit aerated, Boris Johnson said this week, and I quote, "I want to see bustle and I want to see activity. I want to come out of our long national hibernation." So not only did you think you weren't doing anything wrong on Wednesday, you thought you were actually doing what the Prime Minister wanted you to do.
We just wanted to get life back, Because we really, my son.
So
my
roughly,
son said to me, imagine when my son says, "Is this the most fun ever?"
I know.
5 years
I know.
old.
I'm not cross with you. I'm not cross with you. I nearly got cross with you. Mate. It's a good job you were so kind and complimentary at the beginning of the conversation. You softened me up, mate, very perfectly and beautifully. But I have to close by asking you a question, which is, on Wednesday, all 7 of you having a wonderful time, and please God, none of you get poorly. But if you did get poorly, how many people, how many other people do you estimate you came within a metre of? And I'm tempted to say 2 metres as well, because that's still the optimum distance. How many? Because I'm going to go for 5,000.
I just want to add something. On the way, so we parked our car in the parking, and then we have to walk to the beach, right? Yes, it was full of people we came across, but we were putting our masks on. Okay. And then when we arrived to the beach, we took them off, and my husband and my friend's husband were talking mostly, and I was talking to the other parent mostly. Yes, we were keeping distance. And basically, we were not really talking a lot because we were looking for kids. After the kids went into the water.
But the kids ran around a bit, didn't they? There's no way the kids observed social distancing. They were running down to the water and then running back to the beach towels again. And don't fib to me, May. I know that they were, May. I know that they were, because I know what children are.
They were.
So you were dancing all over. You were dancing all over the regulations and requirements. And I agree. I disagree that you didn't do anything wrong. I think you did do something wrong. But I completely understand and sympathise with why you don't think you did anything wrong. And that's why I keep saying, it's not your fault. As long as you don't start lobbing bottles at police officers trying to move you along, then you and I have no beef. I just despair about where it may lead next. And, you know, as Paul Dempsey just explained to us, in the absence of any decent app, if there is another outbreak, the likelihood of being able to properly track and trace it is currently pretty low. But I'm glad you had a lovely day. I really am. And I hope there are more on the horizon soon, albeit a little safer.
So there are a number of issues I have with this call. So first of all, I understand the need to go out. I remember here when the lockdown was first imposed in Italy, after a week I was having cabin fever and I needed to go out, but I understood it was necessary to remain at home and not to go out, to only leave the home for going to the pharmacy or going to the supermarket to buy food. And of course it was necessary to have a document explaining the reason why I was going to the pharmacy or going to the supermarket. But why would you go to a beach? I understand you're dying to get out of your home. You've been stuck in your home for weeks, and there's beautiful weather outside. But why would you go to a beach? Do you not understand that other people would also be going to the beach at the same time? Now, maybe she believed her and her family were the only people who were thinking about going to the beach, and that's why she decided on going to Bournemouth. Now, another problem is that it's 2 hours from her home. So they decided, let's go to the beach in Bournemouth, even though it's 2 hours away. Wouldn't it have been better to do something closer in the area, maybe within half an hour's drive, considering it's a popular beach and a lot of people would go there anyway? However, instead of the normal 2 hours it would take to get to Bournemouth, it actually took 4 hours. And after that 4 hours, she decided it's better to stay here than to turn around and go somewhere else. I understand you spent 4 hours in the car, you don't want to waste that time. But when you arrived at the beach and you found it full, did you not think, okay, maybe this is not a good idea? Now, maybe I'm being too harsh on this lady. She drove 4 hours hoping to find an empty beach, and instead she found a full beach, and instead of driving another 4 hours back home, she decided to stay. Now, would I have done the same thing in her position? I don't think so. I think if, first of all, going to the beach would have been the last of my options. I would have said, look, let's go for a picnic or somewhere. Let's go into an open field. Let's go to a park. Somewhere that we can avoid people. But as soon as I would find a lot of traffic, I would decide this isn't worth it. Let's go somewhere else. Let's try and find somewhere else. But I understand I wasn't there, so maybe I'm being overly critical of her decision. But the idea of going to the beach I still have a problem with, because we saw these images. I uploaded a video about it yesterday, and you saw the images yourself of the beaches full of people. Social distancing out the window. And James O'Brien is right when he said, yes, maybe you practiced social distancing, but there's no way your children would have. The children were playing around, meeting other children, playing with other children, going into the water, coming back out. Of course they were not respecting social distancing. I think it would be pretty much impossible for children to do that. And especially if they're younger children, they wouldn't understand the rules around social distancing. So somewhat in the defense of what this lady has done, and James O'Brien brought this up, the idea that Boris Johnson, once again, with his mixed messaging, said he wanted to see bustle and activity return to British cities and towns, those being the first steps to returning to normality. Now, are these messages that are coming out from the government intentionally mixed, or is it based on incompetence? Because all of these different messages that have been coming out over the last number of weeks, ideas such as you can meet certain members of the public if they're in an open space, but not if they're in your home. Then you can have people in your home, but if they can get through, if the only way to get to the garden is through your home, you can have people in your garden, but no more than 6 people. There are so many different messages and so many ways that these rules can be broken, that instead of having something clear, creating a clear message from the beginning, then you wouldn't have to come back every few weeks and say, no, we actually meant you to do this, not this, or we meant that, not this other thing. One particular example is the 1 meter plus rule. Now, I just discovered that 1 meter plus means 1 meter plus a mask or turning your back to someone when speaking. Why not just have something more simple like 2 meters or a mask? If you can't maintain 2 meters, wear a mask at all times. I think it's much simpler. It creates less confusion because some people may say, well, what if I'm inside or outside? Just 2 meters or a mask. If you can't maintain 2 meters, then you wear a mask. And that would mean that everyone who's in a shop, outside even, will always wear a mask. Now, it may not be comfortable, it may piss off a lot of people, but it's a small price to pay for clarity, I think. But unfortunately, the biggest problem is the messaging, and it's been undermined by the likes of Dominic Cummings. So the government had said, stay at home from the very beginning, and of course Boris Johnson's chief advisor broke the rules and was not punished. Now, if he had been punished, that would have been a different story, but he was not punished. So how are the public supposed to follow the rules to the letter? Can't be bothered to follow the rules himself. So finally, in regards to this call between James O'Brien and this lady, who is to blame here? Is it the government or is it the lady herself? Now, the government have been sending out mixed messages continually, and that's not acceptable. But on the other side, we as citizens have a responsibility to look after ourselves and to look after our fellow citizens, and we should not put them at risk. We know that wearing a mask, we know that maintaining social distancing is important. We know it helps reduce the spread of this pandemic. So even if the government were to say tomorrow, there are no restrictions, the lockdown is over, I think it would be prudent on the behalf of citizens to actually maintain some level of social distancing, hand washing, and any other measures you deem prudent. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Why not become a Patreon and enjoy access to our Discord server where we share news, chat, and have some fun. If you become a patron, you can also make video suggestions on topics that are important to you. Check it out via the link in the description.